Do you like music? Do you like playlists? Do you like awesome music in a playlist chosen by the Book Interrupted members, inspired by the books? Yeah, I thought so. Go to www.bookinterrupted.com to find our cycle song picks. You're welcome.
Parental guidance is recommended because this episode has mature topics and strong language. Here are some moments you can look forward to during this episode of Book Interrupted.
When my dad passed, that song was all I listened to.
And what does this say about this is Meredith's love life?
Love life?
Depressing.
My whole health strategy right now is about good stress.
I'm like, oh, this was a memoir and it's mine.
For Sarah, it's the worst.
I hate you.
Sarah will do like 4 tarot card readings in one day.
It's some dark stuff for sure.
So is it contained behind a cage to protect her from her clumsy self?
Who said that?
The waxer.
The waxer said that. I'm going to do your horseshoe of death now.
Mind, body, and soul. Information is the goal. Try to learn something new without being distracted. Mind, body, and soul. Information is the goal. Trying to learn something new without being disrupted. Mind, body, and soul. Inspiration is the goal. And we're gonna talk it out on Book Interrupted.
Welcome to Book Interrupted, a book club for busy people to connect and one that celebrates life's interruptions. During this banned book cycle, we're reading Ashley's fan book pick, When Dad Killed Mom, by Julius Lester. This book was banned for sexual content and genital references. If you'd like to follow along, this book cycle is from February 1st to April 1st. Jen and Jeremy knew their parents' marriage was in trouble, but no one could have predicted what would come next. Now, with Mom dead and Dad in jail, Jenna and Jeremy must recreate a family of their own. Let's listen in to this episode's group discussion.
So, welcome back. This is the second and final episode for When Dad Killed Mom. And we are joined with everyone today, and I'm very excited to see how everyone thought like the rest of the book was.
Thanks. And the author is...
I've got it right here.
Julius Lester. Oh, you actually have a copy of the book? Nice.
I have it because Kim, remember the last episode? So Kim was like, I might have 2 books. And she did. So she just like sent it to me in the packaging. I'm pretty sure that it came to her in.
I didn't even open it. Just like, fuck this. And just forwarded it on.
Here, take it. Great.
Oh, that's awesome.
As we talked about last time, the audiobook wasn't doing it. I was like, I knew it was short, but I was like, I can't.
Because I know you were saying the girl's voice, it was kind of annoying. And so I was wondering if you felt it was still annoying, but I guess you finished. When did you switch from audio to the physical book?
I gave up on the audio like very early on.
Yeah? Oh,
once
nice.
Kim was like, do you want the book? I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I finished it all the way with audiobook from beginning to end because I didn't get an actual book. Did you get an actual book or did you read it all on Google Books?
I ended up just reading it all on Google Books because I got like an email updating me on shipping or whatever. And by the time it got here, I was like... I'm going to be moved on to the next book that we're reading, so there's no point. So I just finished it all on Google Books.
Cool. I love that we all read it differently. Mare did a little bit of both. You did Google Books, I did audiobook, and Kim did just solid book. That's cool. I didn't like that actress's voice right to the end. But you got used to it eventually.
I think you were supposed to, though. At the beginning of the book, it's kind of written so that you kind of are like, ugh, Jenna, right? Like you kind of feel, like what's with this kid? And it's because she's 14, maybe. They even talk about it, like she's like full of hormones, basically. Maybe you're supposed to feel that way about her because then by the end of the book, you don't feel that way about her. She's still kind of teenagery and she's still like herself, but I think the book kind of did a good job of showing that like sometimes when tragedy hits, you lose somebody close to you. For some people, it makes them, and for some people, it breaks them. Either they've got it together and then they fall apart, or they maybe didn't have it all together and then like change their course. They kind of showed a good example of both that, where the boy, he went into himself, didn't want to do all the stuff he's supposed to do. And then the daughter was like, I'm just going to get straight A's now because I realize all that other stuff doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
All of us know somebody who's lost somebody close to them. And you see real examples of that in life.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting too, because there's such a dynamic of people who go through, like siblings who go through the exact same thing, but experience it completely different, and how they choose to deal with it can be complete opposite. So I thought that was really interesting to see in the book too, because that's been my experience in real life. Is I had a dad pass when I think I was 12 or 13, so like very similar to the ages in the book. And I have 2 other siblings, and we all experienced that so differently, even though it was the same event, right? So that was kind of cool for me to read too, because I really related on hearing about a situation from different people and being like, wait, that's not how I think it went, you know? Yeah,
you don't know where the truth is. It was good.
Yeah, exactly, right? I think the truth sometimes can be, each person thinks it's something different, you know, like someone could be explaining something to you and you're like, that's not the truth, but that's their truth. That's how they seen it. That's how they experience it. I am happy that the book still had both perspectives, because that was really cool.
The other thing about truth too is it also like highlighted how your relationship with people really affects whether or not you're gonna believe them or not. But I want to believe them because I care about them, and like your need to believe is, you know, that's just so human, just wrapped up in our relationships.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry to hear about your dad too.
Thank you. Yeah. It's been a really long time. And kind of interesting to piggyback off of that is your life changes so much after someone, especially immediate to you, passes away. Especially at that young age, you're already going through so many changes. So to deal with the passing of someone, it was very therapeutic almost to read it for me, because when it happened to me, I was like, oh my God, no one in the world has ever gone through this. I can't believe I'm the only person at 13 years old going through the loss of a parent. It was cool to read it for me, because as annoying as like I thought both main characters were at certain points, I was kind of the same way in some aspects. So I felt almost like I was writing it at points.
Do you think that how the author wrote her experience being like, it just feels like I can't talk to anybody because they don't really know, and then she meets that friend who knew?
Yeah.
Like, did you think that like the author kind of nailed it, the internal feelings of
for
the
sure.
kids? Like, it seemed to me like actually at the beginning of the book I was like, oh, whatever, but then I felt like the author did explore all those things kind of nicely, the internal conflicts that are related to it.
I think he did a pretty good job, actually. I wish I had my diary from that age. I threw it out like years ago because it was so depressing, but it would have been so cool if I kept it, because reading that, I totally remember being in that same state of mind and feeling that. And yeah, finding someone that you can actually talk to and relate to, it's such a relief, you know, like you almost feel like you're going back to normal because you're talking to someone who is listening and understanding you. And I think that's something people have a hard time connecting with when they lose someone close to them.
I'm wondering what was annoying about her. I didn't really find her annoying. Maybe I forget. What specifically?
I think I was mostly just annoyed with, sometimes I feel like her train of thought, or I don't know, maybe the way she did things, it just felt young to me.
So youth is annoying?
But it did feel young, right?
Yeah,
like it's
yeah,
good. Like she was kind of obnoxious some ways.
Yes.
She would say something and then, you know, maybe she didn't really mean it just because she's like, you know.
But I think it's just the attitude going through the changes of puberty and losing. You think your dad killed your mom, you know, like that's huge, right? So I can understand why she's kind of annoying sometimes.
I found her annoying too, but I think in the audiobooks they really played it up. So, you know, maybe on the page, I was saying this in my personal journal, maybe because I had to record mine twice. So maybe I didn't, or maybe I did say this.
I know, I never know what to, if I try to say the same thing again, and I can't.
Well, my Audacity like abruptly turned off, and then it said sorry, and I was like, shit.
Sorry, we don't like this personal journal.
I was like, damn it.
Take two.
Right. I was like, they do. I'm not sure if she would come off that way on the page or if this is actress, because the way she would say it, she'd be like, oh God, I'm such a bitch sometimes. The tone she would use it like, I guess, Jenna, if she was a teenager, would be like, like kind of whiny and
yeah, whatever. I think that's what it was. I felt like she was whiny. And of course, realistically, obviously, she's going through a lot. But to sit there and read a book about it, I'm just like, shut up.
Stop complaining. Your dad just...
You know, at some point. But then again, maybe it also hit a personal note for me. I was pretty annoying then too. So it might have felt like a little too personal. I don't know.
You're like, shut up, Jenna. You're making us look bad.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, this was a memoir and it's mine.
When you picked the book, did you think, did I pick this book because of, my past? Or did you think that after you read it? Being like,
I thought that after I read it, because I read so many mystery, true crime, I'm always drawn to that. And then after reading it, I've been doing a lot of healing about my childhood in that age specifically. I've recently went to my hometown. I'm originally from Ontario, and then I moved to BC in high school, and I didn't go back for almost 12 years due to just kind of trauma and stuff like that. And I went back for a friend's wedding, and I got to heal so much of that trauma. So it was almost a kind of a perfect book for that. It felt like it wrapped it all up.
You're like on the healing train, and you're like, well,
exactly.
Time for this book. It's time.
Yeah. So I think maybe subconsciously I picked it because I knew I needed to go through that. Maybe, I don't know.
It's like a lot of times when a book comes in your life, or at least when you read a book, like the timing matters. So
yeah, exactly right. Yeah. And if things are meant to be, I think I was meant to pick that book. So yeah.
Like Kara would love this. Kara always says that. She's like, the right book at the right time. She loves that.
Right. She's gonna listen to this and be like, ooh, I wish I was there.
I like taking a book and just randomly opening it and like reading a sentence. It's kind of like tarot cards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, why? I needed to hear this right now. Even if it's like, and then she went to get the pickles. Like, it's true, I am hungry.
And maybe you need a snack.
I do need a pickle.
Exactly. Speaking of that, there's actually a trend on TikTok right now where you grab the closest book to you, you open it up to page 30, and the first sentence is supposed to describe your love life.
Let's do it right now. Right now.
Oh, I will. Okay, hold on.
Okay, hold on. Let us all get our books.
Okay,
Closest book.
I have a kid's book, so...
Okay, I'm doing it with When Dad Killed Mom. Page 30. First full sentence. Okay, ready. That Sunday, it seemed like my question about him and Karen getting divorced made him remember, because he started talking about her. And there was a sadness in his voice, like he missed her.
And what does this say about this is Meredith's love life?
Love life?
Depressing.
Oh, that's pretty sad.
Divorce? At least he misses her.
Dan misses you because you went to the spare room.
He does miss me. For the viewers, we were talking about this before. I was like, I'm going to sleep in the spare room because I just didn't get a good night's sleep for like several nights in a row. I'm sorry, but I'm just like a very still, deep sleeper.
Quiet.
And like the rest of my family's just rolling around and, I don't know.
Yes.
I just need to get some sleep in.
But still, like, maybe Dan misses you. Where is she?
Maybe he's probably cold, right? If you keep your temperature the same in your house and then you're used to sleeping in bed with somebody and then you go to separate beds, then you're colder.
Yeah, it's so true.
Which I love. It was so cold in the room that I was in. I was like, oh, it's so cold and I'm so cozy under the blanket.
I love sleeping in a cold room. That's it for me. Like that and tons of blankets.
Perfect.
Yeah, you're like 10 degrees.
Yeah, 10 degrees.
Yeah.
You like it freezing.
Totally. Yeah.
I like to wake up with ice.
Kim, are you going to do it?
You have no idea what mine is. It's hilarious.
Okay,
are you ready?
Let's hear it.
I'm ready.
First sentence of page 30 in the book closest to me. This sentence describes my love life. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
The sentence is, no.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Hey, maybe you need to say no more in your life. You need to set boundaries in your love life.
Maybe. No.
Or maybe that's what she does now.
Yeah.
Poor Josh. Honey.
Poor Josh.
No.
I'm feeling for you, Josh.
No.
Thinking
He's
about
like,
Josh.
are you in the mood? You're like, no.
No. Period. No.
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh my God. When I opened it up, I was like, get out of here.
That's
That's
crazy.
see, like it kind of fits perfectly
It's
sometimes.
hilarious. Okay, who's next?
I love how Sarah's closest book is The 4% Fix. That's totally you. How can be more productive?
You could be 4% more productive.
Okay, what is it, Sarah?
All right, so putting on your own virtual oxygen mask sounds straightforward enough, but for most of us, it requires strategy, planning, and commitment.
Totally. This is you like having to figure out what to do with the kids. And you're like, I
Yes,
gotta do
totally.
things. So like
Yeah.
strategy, organizing.
Especially if it's my love life. I am committed to spending time with my husband.
Oh, that's so
That's
important.
true.
A lot of
You
people, a
are.
lot of couples don't.
I have to
do that
plan it
over
out and
time.
strategize. What am I going to do so I have energy by the end of the night?
You
Totally.
need to make a full
I'll
daily.
need to have a midday
planner.
nap.
I think naps are important. Daily.
Well,
love naps.
Don't argue over here.
Okay, so
hear
I'm
it.
recording in my 8-year-old nephew's bedroom.
Ooh, okay, let's hear it.
Yeah, the book I'm reading from is I Survived. True stories.
Ugh.
Of courageous creatures.
They're apparently true stories. So, okay.
Oh.
So on page 30, the first sentence is actually a fact. So in the summer, the eastern North American monarch butterfly makes its home in the northern United States and southern Canada.
You're the monarch butterfly making its home.
Okay, stop. Actually, if this fits, I can't. So I am planning on moving from Edmonton back to the Okanagan, which is the south, and I'm in the
Southern
north.
Canada. There
And
you
you're
go.
a butterfly.
Monarch butterfly
Stop.
migrating.
Are you kidding? So does that mean I'm gonna find a man when I move back?
Yes,
Yeah, some lovin' is coming your way. Fly, butterfly.
totally. You're gonna. No, it's going to be a butterfly though. A male butterfly.
Cute. Should I get a new tattoo? I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, imagine if you got a tattoo just from this game.
I would love it.
Oh my god.
But like a butterfly tattoo is nice. At least it's not like, I don't know.
It's traditional. It's not like the word no.
Yeah.
Should I put the word no on my body?
No.
Yeah.
It's like a worm or something like that.
The North American maggot
Yeah.
likes to
You know
make its
what?
home in rotting flesh.
Yeah, totally. At least you got butterfly. Could have been way worse.
Yeah. Especially some of the
That's
things in
great.
here, there's cockroaches and stuff. So
Okay, wait.
honestly,
Is that butterfly going south?
Yes.
Because
What's
the
migrating?
North American monarch butterfly makes its home in the northern US and southern Canada.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okanagan South.
Great.
For me,
Definitely.
anyways.
Makes its
so you're
home.
moving to a
Definitely.
Soyuz.
I
So
would
we-
move anywhere from Vernon to a Soyuz, honestly.
I thought it was
Yeah.
saying you were going south, and then I was like, "Oh, watch out! Ashley's
Ooh.
going down." If you know what I mean.
Yikes.
No, I think you're finding your love.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, I can't wait.
yeah.
A summer fling? That sounds awesome for me. I can't wait for that.
We killed a whole bunch of moths, I wanted to say. We collect these fuzzy caterpillars in the fall. We stick them in a jar and then they make their cocoons really quickly. And then we usually notice when they come out and the kids get to play with the moths and it's very happy. But like I've been busy. So the moths came out and they're like just dead in there. But I feel like there's a little cocoons
Oh, cool.
on the stick there. But yeah,
Is it soft?
yeah, it is. Their fur is kind of like fiberglass. You're not supposed to really handle them. It can get into your skin and it can get itchy. They make their cocoons out of their fur or their hair. Anyway.
How
You
interesting.
know what remind me of?
Feel
I know
bad.
it's totally different and totally off topic, but you don't remind me of. I have a giant cactus in one of my flower beds. It's normally contained and I make sure I don't touch it or whatever. And the other day,
It's normally contained. What happened? It escaped.
Don't fall into it. We know you're accident prone.
But still. So is it contained behind a cage to protect her from her clumsy self?
I was gardening and I was watering on a different plant and I was trying to trim some flowers to put flowers in a vase and one dropped and I forgot that the cactus was behind and the way I bent down and it
Poked your bum?
Like in a cartoon. Did you go,
right in the bum. I was like, oh, and I thought I got it out, but then it took a while. Every time I moved, I was like, oh, I think some more is still there.
And that's
there's the
that's the
guy.
special time you had with your husband that day, was him picking cactus thorns out of your butt.
Totally. No.
Like, well, this isn't what I had him on. You're like, hey, can you help me with something? You take it down your pants. He's like, yeah. You're like, cactus thorns. Here's some tweezers.
Okay, well, honestly, sometimes when you shave and then, the hair grows back, it feels kind of like a cactus.
True. That's
Yeah.
true.
That is true.
See, we're relating everything here. Yeah,
Let's
right.
play that game. Whatever anybody says, we'll just do an association to it.
How quickly can Kim make a sexual joke out of it?
A sexual joke out
Like
of,
that.
of shaved ass? I think the joke made itself.
Shave my ass, by the way.
It'll shave
just-
my ass, by the way.
Just for the record.
I do want
Yes.
the world to know.
Yet.
I
Doesn't
do
mean you
not
Said it here first.
shave my ass. Natural hairy ass for me only.
Have you ever gotten it waxed?
No.
Sarah would never.
No.
Really? Oh, okay. So I got it waxed once and I thought it was going to be so painful. It's the least painful place to wax.
Oh,
I've
interesting.
ever had waxed.
I wonder
Yeah.
why. They're like no nerve endings there or something? Like, what's the deal with that?
Or maybe there's like not that much hair. I mean, I
Um,
can't speak for everyone.
Yeah.
She was like, okay, I'm done. And I was like, I didn't know you.
Like we started?
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Isn't that called the Brazilian?
That's when you get everything. Yeah.
Yeah, they call it the horseshoe of death at some point during the waxing section. Yeah.
What?
Who said that?
The waxer.
The waxer said that I'm going to do your horseshoe of death now.
That's what she said.
Nobody's died there before. Why are you calling it the horseshoe of death?
So she did like the lips and
Wait,
then
are we Brazilian or are we asshole? What are
she
we?
was like, okay, we're going to go do the horseshoe of death.
The
Okay.
horseshoe of death. Maybe she got
Brazilian.
farted at once and it was foul.
That's why she called it the horseshoe of death?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Why would you call it the horseshoe? That's kind of
For
weird.
me, I thought that meant pain.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the
I don't
top part more near like the clit was a little more sensitive. So I think
That
that's what
makes
she called
sense.
like the horseshoe of death.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it is
So,
about
but I was
pain.
like, you
'Cause,
were
like,
hyping me up for something worse than it was.
Yeah, call it something nice and relaxing.
I'd be terrified.
Leave the wax on, like that's fine.
Oh, just
Yeah,
it's as smooth as if the hairs were removed. Just having a wax coating.
yeah. Just
just tint it to match my skin color and just cover it up.
We're good to go. I'm fine with this. Thank you.
okay, wait. No. You guys were talking about vajazzling.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That
right?
sounds like
yes,
a
that should
shout.
be totally a way to vajazzle. Just
That's
some
true.
colorful wax down
Yeah,
there.
put wax and then stick the beads right on.
Rhinestone.
Or the,
yeah.
the rhinestones.
That's actually cute.
Cute.
I'm not sure if it's functional, but it's definitely
I don't
fashionable.
know. Yeah, maybe not functional. I don't know.
Try it
If
in
I had-
Okanagan when you're there with your
No,
new
too
man,
hot.
or-
Or the wax would melt for sure. Actually, the
Person-
wax would
person.
probably melt from friction anyway. Honestly.
Oh yeah, honestly, that's so true. That's what I'm kind of nervous for moving back. Is I'm in such an extremely cold climate now.
And you
I'm
like
going back
it
to an
cold.
extremely warm climate, but I'd rather be warm.
You'll
than
be
cold.
fine.
Yeah.
You're good here. I'm happy you're coming back.
Yeah, I thrive in the Okanagan.
You do thrive here for sure.
I know. I was just thinking. I was like, oh, me and Kim are gonna have to go for lunch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I want to come back to the tarot cards for a second.
Yes.
I know you're saying like sometimes
Oh.
you pull like up a tarot card and you're like, I needed to hear this.
Mm.
I wonder if people are like more likely to trust tarot cards if their life is a hot mess.
Mm.
No,
You know
no,
Like you pick it up and you're like, I need
No.
all of this advice. Every card is that
It's-
advice I need.
It's literally you're hitting it on the head, but you don't realize it's how open you are. So if that person is desperate and they came to the tarot cards because they're looking for messages because they don't know what to do, then they're all about it. But some people aren't.
But what if your
open.
personality is you're on the fence? You're like, I don't know. But then when your life is really poor, you're like, you nailed it. But you could go through the whole deck and be like, I need all this because I know nothing.
It depends. Sometimes because the tarot is going to tell you whatever you actually need to know. But
Mhm.
sometimes the reason your life's all fucked up is because you're in denial about what you need to know. And so if
I
the
don't know
tarot
about that.
is that your denial?
Yeah. Did it come off as denial?
First
That was the
stage.
point.
Well, at first I was mad.
That's my
I was like,
denial.
Shut up, I'm not finished. But then I was like, why are you so
I'm
combative?
skeptical.
But yeah, I've had it before. Well, I had a mentor, a tarot mentor once, and that's what she told me too, which I also low-key understand could be just a bad tarot card reader's way of being like, oh, they just don't understand, even though the person's like, this has nothing to do with me, none of these cards make any sense. And the tarot card reader's like, it's just you're not ready for the message yet.
I've read some scammy tarot card readers. They'll tell you kind of a few like basic things, but then if you want to know the more detailed stuff, they'll be like, well, you got to come for a second reading. And obviously people want to know like the more juicy stuff, right?
A cliffhanger tarot card reading, that's rude. Although if the
so
last
bad.
card literally is a cliffhanger, like Sarah's favorite card, the moon.
Yeah, I hate the moon. It's the worst.
The moon. Is the moon always a cliffhanger?
And the moon is literally like, you don't get to know. That's what the moon means. It's like,
Oh, is it?
you have to be okay with not knowing.
It's gonna be a surprise.
Yeah.
You're in the dark,
Yeah. And that's okay.
and that's it. And you're like, fuck off. That's my final card.
For Sarah, it's the worst.
I hate you.
Sarah will do like 4 tarot card readings in one day just so she can hear more.
No.
It's just like the moon every time.
Yeah.
Sorry. We saw you coming.
Totally.
From space.
Totally. Yeah.
I said to KJ while she's doing it, even though I know the cards are telling me what I need to hear, I'll be like, I just need some good news. And she'll be like, but that you have to do this shit to get the good news. I'm like, but I don't want to.
Yeah. Stop looking at it as good news or bad news. It's just news.
Yeah, except for if you're getting the tower. And it's like,
Yeah.
your life is falling apart and you're not dealing with it. You're in a burning building. Do something. And I'm like, no.
We should get Sarah a shirt that's got the moon on it. I
hate
as
the
a
moon.
reminder.
The moon glowing over the tower, the crumbling tower.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't get to know how it is. It's currently crumbling.
But it's
Good luck.
terrifying.
Yeah, your present is the tower. Your final is the moon. I'd be like,
Yeah.
My computer just did a bloop, 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 but I thought I had it on Do Not Disturb.
oh, I didn't.
You got
Confirmed.
disturbed?
That was good.
I thought your battery
Yeah,
was
disturbed.
dying. So I think a disturbance is better than a dead battery.
I've got it plugged in the computer because I've had that happen.
Your social battery.
That would be a problem.
My social, I have my watch tells me body battery, like how much I recovered
Oh.
at night, stuff like that.
So what about last night in the spare bedroom? What were your results?
I didn't have a good recovery. They said I
Because
had-
of
That's pretty
interruptions?
No, they said because of high stress levels yesterday.
Oh. And how do they know that? Like, what is it? Heart
It
rate?
monitors my stress.
Like, how does it calculate your stress?
I'm not actually exactly how. I'm not exactly. I'm not exactly sure. how it
sound pretty
calculates the stress. Exactly. I'm like stuck on that word, but it does measure heart rate variability, and I think that's used as part of it.
Yeah.
Maybe
Because
get
I'd
this
like
right.
to see a day of sex on the stress report versus a day of sick, angry children and see, like, you know what I mean? Maybe they're similar because, like, there's good stress.
Yeah.
You know what right? So I'd like to see those
My
stress
whole
reports.
health strategy right now is about good stress. So
I thought you were going to say sex. My whole health strategy is good sex.
about good
It's just
sex.
sex.
I had this
all the
gross
time.
smoothie with broccoli sprouts because they've got sulforaphane, which is like a good
okay,
stressor.
healthy.
And then I've been doing the sauna.
Tell me about the
Um,
grossness more.
The grossness?
Why it
It
was
tastes
gross.
gross because
But
sulforaphane
why
tastes
couldn't
gross.
you do something that also made it taste good?
I heard putting apples in smoothies make it taste pretty good.
I put bananas and kefir to make it taste better.
Was it a penis smoothie? Were you making a phallic
Yeah,
smoothie?
I guess because I did like broccoli sprouts and they could
Bananas
look
and
like
mushrooms.
cubes, right? The
Do you
broccoli
remember
sprouts?
from the last
Yeah,
episode?
from the last one, remember?
The coitus?
The penis smoothie and the vagina smoothie? Or are you saying what about the sprouts looking like pubes? Is that what you're saying? What too?
Oh, no, but that's bonus.
I
That's
love
literally
that.
the cherry on top.
Maybe that's the Merkin smoothie, right?
The
Ew,
Merkin smoothie. Because everyone wants to eat.
Hair.
Yeah. But anyway, it tastes bad just because the compounds didn't taste bad.
Was it really gritty from the broccoli?
No, it's broccoli sprouts.
Oh,
You know those sprouts that were super popular? They still exist, obviously. But like,
Alfalfa.
yeah. Is it like
Alfalfa.
those?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it's
what
like
broccoli
those,
sprouts look
but
like?
Oh, I
they
see.
look a
Okay.
little different. Do you want to see what they look like?
Sure. Yeah.
I'm
that would be
down,
great.
yeah.
I'll
Okay.
be back. 1 minute.
Very
I got
interested.
lots of broccoli sprouts right now. 1 minute.
Okay,
Oh.
great.
This is some juicy stuff for the people who watch on YouTube.
Get your friends. The broccoli
Yeah.
sprouts are coming.
Can you
Yeah.
guys see?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can you see
Those
that,
actually
Kim?
look like
Yeah,
they
I
would be
can
good
see,
on
I
a
can see.
sandwich.
It looks cool.
Yeah, there would be good in a sandwich.
And do they taste like broccoli?
No, you know, like cruciferous vegetables have kind of like spicy taste, like radishes.
Yeah, when they're raw. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So it's kind of got that, a little bit of a bite.
Oh.
But like not like as much as radish. I mix in radish sprouts as well. They're high in the enzyme that converts.
I was just going to say, does it make your broccoli sprout more effective?
Yeah, so basically the broccoli sprout has a thing called glucoraphanin in it and myrosinase, which is the enzyme. And then when you break them up, like in a smoothie or chewing, they combine to make a compound, isothiocyanate, called sulforaphane, which gives your body a little stress. And so it activates these protective enzymes in your cells. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So it feels like it's kind of a superfood, low-key.
Yeah. It's like giving yourself a little bit of poison. So your body is like, I'll take care of it. But then takes care of other things. So the first one I did, I had too much. And it was a little bit, first of all, I didn't feel good. I was like, so I decided to throw it up. But I think it was too late. And then my temperature dropped, oral temperature.
Yeah.
As opposed to your anal temperature. I know you like to get a fulsome reading. So you check all orifices.
I'm just saying, I don't know what my core body temperature was doing, but I know what the temperature of my mouth was. And it was below what my thermometer would read. So it was below 32.5.
You got a cold mouth?
And it was cold. My body, said my mom, like, am I cold? And she's like, yes. I was like, okay, draw a bath for me. So I got into the bath. I got up to like over 36. And I got warmed up. And then I went to bed. My temperature dropped again between like the bath and the bed. And they covered me in lots of blankets. I put a fleece on. I stayed there until my body temperature stabilized. But the funny thing is, my body temperature is now higher than it used to be, like by a degree. So I did something weird to my body. But then I felt great because I was not feeling great. And then I felt really great. And so I've been trying to I eased back up and I'm doing maybe like half of this. I will put into a shake.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Anyway, so like that stress and heat stress, like and the sauna.
Wow. And how interesting. It like, you have to like kind of push your body.
Push it. But don't push it too far because people do that with exercise sometimes too, where they get past the bad feeling, which is good. But if they go way too far, then it's hard for your body to recover. You have to still let your body recover. But hello, puppies. Sorry, Kim's just moving her camera
to
the dogs. I'm not calling everybody on the podcast puppies.
Hello, puppies.
Hello, puppies.
Oh, they're so cute.
If you see the YouTube version of this, you see what I'm talking about. It's not. I'm all pink. I'm all blushing.
He's actually calling us a bitch.
Hello, puppies.
What a change. Like, here's my science lesson. And then you end it with, hello, puppies.
I'm also hot because I went grunge because of the book being in the 90s.
For
the playlist, I was trying to do 90s songs for my playlist choices as well, as I noticed other people also did.
The playlist had 2 Nirvana songs, which is like...
Well, because she even talked about listening to Nirvana in the book.
Yeah, totally. I know, it was good.
Why did you guys choose the songs that you chose for the playlist? Is it just because she was saying that she was kind of listening to songs like that? Or is it a feeling you felt like the same way when you listened to the songs? Or
so I wanted to get songs that were mainly like in the 90s because of the time, but so I tried to pick out a Nirvana song that had something to do with the plot. So I picked Lounge Act. If you listen to the lyrics, you'll get it. You'll be like, oh yeah, because I thought it kind of like described a little bit her relationship with the other boy who had lost a parent.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
You know,
I agree.
so that's why I picked that song. And then I put Boys to Men because I was like looking up songs. I was like, Boys to Men, I haven't listened to them forever. They have this song called It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday. So I put that on there because it's like perfect for the book. Part of the things about something like that, it's not just that their mom died, which is terrible. Their dad is now in jail and everything has changed. Their whole life, nothing will ever be the same. And like nothing is ever going to be always the same, but it's such a big shift, right? So I like that song. And then Jenny was a friend of mine because of Jenna and Jenny.
Yeah, I thought that's
and like that song is not from the 90s, it's from the 2000s, but it also talks about somebody being questioned, them being suspicious of what happened, you know? So that's kind of like a crime song. I think I picked another one, but I didn't remember.
No,
but that's why I try to look at the plot.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I think about
that's
the plot.
very thought out. That's cool. What about you guys?
Okay, let me think about my songs because I don't remember them because I already sent them away.
Okay, I'll tell you. Hey Joe was perfect. You picked Hey Joe. Took a gun and killed his wife because
I heard you shot your lady down.
Yeah,
that makes sense because that's what happened.
You put Where Did You Sleep Last Night, which also makes sense because the dad said
another Nirvana song.
Yeah.
Well, it may not be an original Nirvana, but performed by Nirvana.
Yeah.
I got it
Oh,
here.
Psycho
Psycho
Killer.
Killer. Qu'est-ce que
Yeah.
c'est? And Murder Was the Case by Snoop. I don't think I need to explain why I picked these songs.
No.
Just the titles themselves are kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Sarah?
And me
Sorry.
and Ashley both did. Ashley picked it. I was going to pick it, but then I took it off. What was it? Kicks one?
Pump Up Kicks by Foster the People. Yes.
Totally.
Okay, so I specifically wanted to pick that song for the line. So one, it's about kids, right? But it's also, one of the lyrics says something like, you better outrun my bullet, outrun my gun.
Faster than my bullet.
Yes,
Yeah.
and just the vibe of it, it really felt to me like it fit the book really well. So I thought it was
so
really
too.
fun that you also picked it, because when I was reading it, that was the first song that popped into my head. I was like, that has to be on the playlist.
Nice.
I also picked Somebody That I Used to Know by Goit or Gote or something. That fit well too, because like you guys were saying, their lives completely changed, right? Like it slipped 180, will never be the same. And I feel like that song saying, you're somebody that I used to know, that's probably how they felt about their past self, their dad, even about them as siblings. I thought that was a good
I
one.
love that song. Have you ever heard it
I
from
love
American
it.
Idol when those two people did it? Oh my God, it's the best version ever. I'm pretty sure it's Philip Phillips.
Okay.
And I don't
he's
remember
good.
who the girl is. I can't remember the girl's name, but it's so good. Like that was the first time I heard that song on American Idol. That was the first version I heard. That's my preference. So like when I hear what's his name? Gotcha or Goche or something.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
When I hear that version, it leaves me wanting more, because what I really want is the Philip, like it's like a mashup, right? They only do, I don't know, a minute of it instead of the whole song.
I hate
it's
when
so good.
covers of songs are better than the original and then you can't find them anywhere but YouTube.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'll put it on the show notes so people can listen to it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
That would
Me
be good. I do also want to mention my last song that I picked. It's an old one, but it kind of started resurfacing again last year, I think it was. But what's it called? Running Up That Hill.
Running Up That Hill.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
Kate
Such
Bush.
a great song.
Yes, so it became popular again because it was used a lot during Stranger Things, which is huge, right? But when my dad passed, I found that song. I was watching someone on YouTube and they had that song playing in the background. And so when my dad passed, that song was all I listened to. And I thought that was cool to add because they lost their dad around the same age too. If I was them, that would be my soundtrack.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I have to listen to it. I have to listen to it when we're done off here again.
Oh yeah, I listened to the playlist because I live like half an hour from my bro. I listened to it the whole way here just to get
Nice to get primed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I picked Tupac, Dear Mama,
Yes.
obviously, for many reasons, right?
Can't believe you guys all didn't pick it.
Yeah. Embarrassing.
And then mine were more about the kids. So I also put Oh Father by Madonna. So that was like her being like, I got away from you.
Yeah.
And now you can't hurt me anymore.
Mhm.
And then
Perfect.
I got No Son of Mine because I felt like the dad and the lawyer was trying to make Jeremy testify against. And so it was like when he like stood up in court and, said you're a liar. And I felt like that kind of was associated because his father was like, you're no son of mine because you're defending your mom.
Yeah.
Oh, and I put I Will Remember You. I put that because the whole Jeremy thing, like in her studio, like reading her journals and stuff, I felt like that was kind of relevant. Like, you remember me, I will remember you.
The Sarah McLachlan one?
Yeah.
Do you ever have a song that's like perfect for it, but you don't want to pick it because you don't like that song?
Let's hear it. What song did you have?
No, I'm thinking about that Phil Collins song. Like I wouldn't have picked it, even though it works, because I don't like it.
Right? Yeah, you want the playlist to be something you want to listen to.
No offense.
Totally.
But exactly, right? Like
I wanted something though at the end for Jeremy too, because I had something for Jenna. So I felt like that's
I like that you have a formula. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Like, okay, I've
3
represented
kids.
Jenna. I have to represent Jeremy.
Yes.
She's always trying to like manage the fairness arguments with 3 children. We have to make sure it's fair, so you don't even have to have the fairness discussion.
That's so funny, but that's true. That's exactly what I did. I didn't even realize it consciously, but I was like, oh, if I'm representing Jenna, I have to represent Jeremy.
That's
He'll feel
actually
left out.
so cute. I love that.
Totally.
I love when being a mom just comes out in ways that you don't even
It's just
notice
absurd.
it.
Yeah.
I wasn't conscious. But
That's
yes,
very
that's
cute.
exactly why I did it. I was like, I literally was looking one for Jeremy.
Part of that is our mom. When my mom comes to visit, if she gives the kids, let's say she brings them gummy bears, she'll give them the exact same gummy bears, not just same number, the same colors. She'll be like,
True.
I'm the same way with my nephews. They get the exact same thing, same color. They get
Thank
like
you.
a really big chocolate too. It's got to be the exact same. I don't care.
It just makes it easy.
Exactly right.
Mhm.
And then it's like, even if they're fighting, oh, that's mine. It's the same thing.
I think that's kind of funny. Back to the original kind of serious conversation about how siblings experience the same event different.
Yeah.
I'm an only child, so perhaps I'm speaking from a privileged standpoint, not having to suffer with sharing and stealing or whatever of a sibling. But if someone got me the same gift, exact same gift as someone else because they just wanted it to be fair, I'd be like, you don't even know me. Like,
Well, yeah. But you know what? The parents save themselves so much grief. As a kid, I was like,
Yes,
why
yeah.
do you always get us the same? We don't want to look exactly the same all the time. And we're always like, well, it's the worst. And as an adult now, I'm just like, yes, I just wish everybody get my kids the exact same thing. Because every time they're like, but she's got that and she's got that. And I was like, no, we're not playing this game. That you can just have nothing then.
It's always you want what you can't have.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
If you got the same thing, you're like, oh, I wanted different things. You get different things, you're like, well, they have something I don't have now.
Yeah.
You're never winning with kids.
well, that's what I was just going to
That's the
say too.
point.
Like, you're never
You never
winning.
win.
They're
Yeah.
fighting over the same thing anyway. So
Oh, yeah.
the
Yeah.
conversations about, I don't know, sharing or life's not fair. So it's not your fucking birthday. You don't get a present. You know what I mean? Like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Instead of just trying to avoid it by like coming up with other moves, you know?
But you don't win
yeah,
either
it's
way.
true.
So whatever you do, you lose.
But
Yeah.
just a little bit of peace every once in a while, you're just like, oh, now we don't have to deal with that right now.
Yeah.
Right? It's good that they're going to fight over it anyway, but just maybe less.
Maybe.
Hopefully, please.
I want to bring up one thing. Yes. So
Okay.
what did
About
you
the
guys think
book?
about this? And this is a spoiler. What did
Okay.
you guys think about the end? How he named everyone after his sister Jennifer?
His dead sister, that he felt responsible
Yeah.
for her death, even though he wasn't, because he
And
was a
the-
child and she fell off from a tree. Yeah.
It was kind of
I don't
creepy,
know.
right? That the two
Yeah.
kids died with the
And
same
yeah,
name
he
as
kind of
Jenna.
seemed like a piece of work anyway. Like he's, sleeping with his clients.
Like, I
So-
almost feel like they were trying to justify making him a bad person or something, like his origin story, if that makes sense.
But I mean, that's what happens, right? Anybody who's really, really messed up, something happened that messed them up. Imagine, like, you said you didn't like a name and he goes behind your back and names your kid the name that you said you don't want.
Yeah, divorce.
Yeah, we'd be going to the courthouse.
And then you find out that he had a daughter that was named that before who died and a sister who was named that before who
Yeah,
died.
that's
Like,
fair.
what? I like that the girl in the end changed her name. She was like, I don't really want to be named after two dead people. And I was like, good for you.
Oh, totally taking her power back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she decided to name herself after the name her mother was going to name her.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was
Oh,
kind of
I
cool,
didn't
like, to
notice
honor
that
her
one.
mother.
Very good. That's
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
beautiful. Kind of going back to your question though, I do think, so I don't know, sometimes when I'm reading or watching a show where they're like, oh, and I feel like I'm responsible for this person's death. And it's like they were probably going to die whether you were there or not. That's kind of how I felt. Were you really the reason?
But I think
Or-
people do feel that. They think, what could
That's
I have
true,
done?
right? Like, they
It's
do
that
feel-
negotiating part of grief, you
Yeah.
know, that if you never
Oh.
really get past it, then you always, what if I had done something different? And some people just never get past that. They always think that and they
Yeah,
never fully
that's
grieve.
true.
I think
I
they
didn't
also
think of
like
it
were
like that,
establishing him as a narcissist. And so that's something a narcissist would do too, is like, oh, this death is about me. That person died, but
I'm cursed.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the victim.
But I'm the one who's experiencing all the emotions from
I'll
it.
name
right?
all of
Yeah.
my children Jennifer from now on.
Creep.
When Jenna was hugging him and it was a little
Yes.
too long and a little too adult.
Yes.
a hug.
It was
Yeah.
kind
And
I
the
don't
fact
know.
that he admitted at the end that he was like making me put suntan lotion on you and you were so beautiful and I was having
Mhm.
weird feelings. I was like, well, good thing she got away from you.
I totally agree. I was uncomfortable reading it. I couldn't even imagine being
Jenna.
like experiencing that, you know?
Or even the mom watching it. No wonder the mom was like, I gotta get her out.
The mom had like good instincts though, right?
Yeah, I gotta get her
Moms are
out.
like, yeah, too far.
Yeah, it had a lot of good topics in there, and it was banned. Having something like that in there too, I didn't know as a kid what was like, when you know behavior is bad, but no one ever told me certain behaviors were bad. To have it in a book like that, where it's being written, this isn't okay, this is creepy.
It's kind of nice that there's books out there that maybe a kid could read and be like,
yes,
oh, okay, it's not just me with my spidey sense thinking something's weird.
Yes.
Everyone thinks that's wrong.
Exactly.
Other people think it's wrong. I'm having a good intuition.
Yeah.
Sometimes people want to shield kids from the evils
horrors.
of the world, the horrors of the world, but they're probably going to see some of them eventually. So at what point is it okay for them to, read it? And, this kind of stuff happens to 12, 14-year-olds. So why not read a book about it?
Yeah, and to read it from the children's perspective instead of the parents being like, oh, when I saw this happen to my daughter, this is how I felt. It's kind of coming from her being like, this is what I was experiencing, right? And to also see that your other parent should stick up for you. Your guardian should be protecting you, which sometimes in the things that I listen to or read, that doesn't happen a lot. I hear so many stories where a child was being abused or something was a little off. The other parent knew, but just kind of brushed it off. And that's not...
It's like denial, right? They're hoping so bad that it's not true.
Yeah.
And it's the worst case because you're hurting a child. Like, it's some dark stuff for sure.
Yeah. On that note, this concludes.
It does pretty much. I'm like, on that note.
On a really sad note, would you guys recommend it?
Nice save, Ashley.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Ashley, you go first.
So I would recommend it for the age group around that age. I don't think I would really recommend it to anyone like out of high school. For me, it was a little too young of a read, but I did like how quick it went by, just how short the book was. It kind of got to the punches in a good amount of time for me. So depending on the age, I would recommend.
So for me, I said the same thing. I was like, it's a so-so because I wouldn't really recommend it for me, but for a young adult or someone that age group, I think it's great. Hits a lot of topics. If someone's grieving about a parent that died, it's perfect. But it's not really, I wasn't running to read it. It wasn't complicated like an adult book would be with a similar topic.
They laid it all out.
Yeah. What do you think?
Would I recommend it? I wouldn't not recommend it. But I don't know if I'm willing to go so far as to say I would recommend it. So I'm going to stay there in that little space.
Like if someone had the book and they're like, should I read it? You'd be like, yeah, but don't
be
go
like,
try
you
and get it on Amazon for a month.
You have it. I mean, it's short.
If you have nothing else to do.
Yeah.
I have so many copies.
Do you need a copy?
You can have one. I recommend if you'll buy it.
Yeah, like I'll give it away.
It's free.
You can give it to me.
Oh, that's funny.
What about you, Mare?
I feel like I'm the same. I didn't dislike it. It was short. It was a fast read. I will not read it again. That is the measure for me. Will I read it again? And I brought this into the sauna and someone's like, into the sauna. I was like, I'm not going to read this again. That's what I told them. So it's fine. It's not one of those beloved that you take off the shelf again.
I feel the same way about that.
But yeah, I understand the age because it'd be interesting to do like at school, but do it like as a discussion book with people, right? Like it's an interesting book to discuss. Like Kim, I wouldn't say don't read it.
Oh, cool. I like that we're all on the same page.
We're off to the Hunger Games.
Yes. Oh, stop.
Woohoo! Oh, and Ashley is joining us.
Yes. Yes.
She's
the
coming.
Hunger Games is when I heard it, that was it. So
you had me at Hunger
Ashley's
Games.
coming.
Yes, I'm very excited, you guys.
The fan becomes the member.
It's very true. Yes. And I'm so happy to be one.
This interruption is brought to you by Unpublished. Do you want to know more about the members and Book Interrupted? Go behind the scenes? Visit our website at www.bookinterrupted.com.
Book Interrupted.
Okay, here is a really crazy interruption. I now do not mind the interruption of cleaning my cat litter because I have found the perfect way to do it. So what normally would have been a terrible interruption that I would want to avoid and potentially, self-fulfilling prophecy would leave too long and get extra stinky, I now with joy do every single day. And they're not a sponsor, but they should be, because Pretty Litter has changed my life. It's super expensive, but it's so worth it because the litter literally doesn't smell at all. And I got one of those cat litter boxes that has a sifter on it. And so those two products combined make litter box cleaning a dream. So there you go. My fellow cat lovers out there, get yourself some Pretty Litter and a sifter box and enjoy your life.
Book interrupted.
It's book report time. We're going to find out from each member their final thoughts. And do they recommend the book? Let's listen.
Hey everyone, this is Ashley, and this is my second personal journal for When Dad Killed Mom. And now that I've finished the whole book, I have a few thoughts, and one of it is I wish I read this book when I was the same age, because for those of you who don't know, my dad passed when I just turned 13, and some of the things that they're talking about in this book, I related to a lot then, and I didn't really have any friends who had gone through similar things. So I really understand the girl in the book when she's talking about how it's hard to talk to people when they haven't gone through a similar experience, especially at such a young age. That's something that's really hard to wrap your head around. But it was kind of nice and therapeutic in that way for me. I feel like it almost helped heal my inner child a little bit. So that was really nice. And overall, the book was okay. I probably wouldn't read the book again myself. I kind of try and divide books into, will I read again, read it once but wouldn't read it again, and wish I never read it at all. And this one for me is in the middle. I'm happy I read the book, and I would recommend it to kids of that age. And I don't think it should have been banned because it talks about a lot of really important topics, in my opinion. I don't know why that's not more normalized for children. Going through puberty in itself and just family dynamic changes is a lot to deal with. And now that we have the internet, there's a lot of resources. But sometimes just reading it from people that are supposed to be around your age makes it easier, in my opinion, versus hearing it from adults, which is what I heard a lot. I heard a lot of feedback just from adults. So I liked that it was from the kids' point of view. Did I like the ending? Yeah, I think so. I thought it was a little predictable. And I don't know if that's because I read a lot of crime and mystery novels. With that, you kind of just pick up things when you're thinking about foreshadowing. So yeah, it was okay. It was not bad. I honestly would have been happy if my nephew read this at the same time and we talked about it, because I would love to get their opinion. They're a little too young still though. My oldest nephew is just turning 9. So I don't know, maybe when they're in middle school or something, but I don't think this deserved to be banned. I've read a ton of other more gruesome books that aren't banned in schools, so I don't know why this one is. Happy I picked it, and I'm even happier that I'm on the podcast, and I can't wait to hear what the other girls think. Thank you guys for listening.
Okay, I think there was suspicion that I might be getting 2 books in my last check-in, and I want to update you. I did. I got 2, and so I sent one to Meredith because she didn't have one, so that worked out well. I have a hard time deciding if I like this book or not. I don't not like it. Basically, what happened was I bought a bunch of books, a bunch of books that I really want to read. Now, the books that we're reading this season, I also want to read for the podcast, but some of them maybe I wouldn't have picked by myself, and so I would classify them as a book that someone else wants me to read. And I historically have problems with that, in high school. If I was assigned a book that was not in my interest group, a science fiction, for example, 1984, man, or what else, The Hobbit. Those were hard to read. I don't even think I finished The Hobbit. But anyway, the point is that I have a hard time reading a book that I didn't want to read or that I didn't pick. I didn't initially decide I want to read that. So I bought a bunch of books that I did decide I wanted to read, and I was so excited to start them. And so that is what made me, this is my whole point, like, long story short, too late. I went to bed looking forward to reading When Dad Killed Mom, but not because I was enjoying the book, because it was going to get me to the books I actually wanted to read. I just wanted to finish it. And I think it might just be because it's young adult, maybe. Like, I felt like there was a couple stories or like plot twists or what, I don't even know what you would call them, that were planted almost like seeds that didn't come to fruition, which whatever, but I don't know, in some cases I want the book to go farther with those things. Like, why'd you even say that if you weren't going to make it a thing? I was considering it after. Maybe the author wanted to make the reader think something and then it wasn't true. I don't know. I just don't even want to really spend that much time thinking about it, because like my experience of reading it, which was kind of rushing through the end of it so I could get to what I really wanted to read, it's the same thing. I don't want to spend a lot of time thinking and talking about this because there are so many more interesting things to think and talk about. How terrible is that? I'm sorry, Ashley. If the book wasn't bad, it was like a young adult book. So it was what you would expect that to be. And I think Sarah said it well in the group conversation. It wasn't complex. And maybe that's what it is, because I'm so complex and I need a lot of complexity in my reading. Not true. But anyway, it's something like that. You know what a good young adult book is? I think I already manuscript Monday'd this, but Holes by Louis Sacher. That is a good book. And that, I would argue, is moderately complex. So if you haven't read that book, read it. If you're wanting to have a young adult novel, it's probably even younger than young adult. But anyway, if you want to have a book that's not for grown-ups traditionally and read it and see, that's the one. It's really, really good. And don't watch the movie first. Just read the book. It's so good. So that concludes my book report on Holes. Just kidding. So yes, When Dad Killed Mom, like I said already in the show, I wouldn't not recommend it. And I'm sticking to it.
Okay, so this is my final book report, number 2, for When Dad Killed Mom. So first of all, the book was really quick. I read it as an audiobook because I couldn't get the physical book. And it was a very quick read. It was less of a murder mystery and more of a book about how these children were dealing with grief. It's very clearly a young adult book. It's just not really complicated like maybe an adult book would be. So that made it a really quick, easy read as well. There's a couple things I really liked about the book. I really liked the ending of the book. The courtroom scene was great. Throughout the book, they kind of imply that there was some abuse going on between Jenna and her father. And you don't find out till the end what the issue was between Jenna and her father. So I like that there was a kind of a surprise at the end. I won't ruin it for those of you who are still reading. Yeah, I like that part of the book. I like how the book kind of describes how each child is dealing with their grief. So I think that's really what it was more about. I'm not sure why it was banned. There was also a part that I really liked at the end, the grandfather saying that people act a certain way based on their parents and their parents' parents, and then people they don't even know, like through their ancestry. So I thought that was kind of cool. I think basically this book is good for helping younger people deal with and understand people going through grief when they've lost their parents when they're young. So as for the book though, I would just give it a so-so. It wasn't one of those books that I was like running back to read. I couldn't wait to find out what happens. It just wasn't that book for me. So I just give it a so-so. It wasn't a great read for me, but maybe it's just because I'm not the demographic for the book. Okay, off to the next book. Hunger Games.
So we've wrapped up our fan book, which was called When Dad Killed Mom, and we just finished the group discussion. So when you saw me last, or rather heard from me last, I hadn't really started the book. I didn't know very much about it. I'd found the audiobook. In the meantime, Kim has sent me a copy. I read the book, and I'm fully prepared to talk about it. And now that I'm here, I'm not really sure what I want to talk about. It was a juvenile novel, so it's aimed for younger people, so 12 plus. I don't think I'll read it again, but it doesn't mean that I didn't enjoy it. I don't know if I would recommend it necessarily because most of the people I recommend books to are not juveniles, so that's fine. I like that it approached these serious subjects in a respectful way to young people. Like, it wasn't trying to like sugarcoat things. I believe a really realistic portrayal of what two young people might be going through when their mother died at the hands of their father, and the conflicts that come from there as well. How they responded to it differently. So the children are really presented as their own individuals that are responding to grief in their own way. And I think that our culture has a tendency to want to shield children from grief because things like death and murder do seem like very adult subjects, but it doesn't mean that a child is not going to experience that in some facet of their life, especially just, death. Back in the day, when I was a kid, we went to funerals, but I know that not everybody allows kids to go to funerals when loved ones die because they want to shield them from grieving. And I'm not sure if that kind of sentiment had a hand in this getting banned or not, but there were adult-ish themes. But let's face it, once you're 12, you are becoming an adult. So eventually you're going to have to learn about this stuff. And, a book is maybe a safe place to explore some of these themes before they're, you're thrust into them just because of your living life. So the book is set in the 90s. And at the end, spoiler alert, the one character, the daughter, wants to create a website because she's feeling very misunderstood, alone. It almost feels like all of her friends don't really know what she's going through because she only knows one other person who kind of went through something similar by losing a parent. And she gets the idea that it might be nice to have a place where other kids who feel kind of that loneliness can go and tell their story and feel like they belong. So she develops this website. And it's interesting, in the 90s, people were just starting to do that, and the internet wasn't what it is today. It makes you wonder, or makes me wonder, if that whole process of losing a parent and stuff is maybe a little bit different because there's so much available now on the internet, good and bad. There might be places, many places somebody can go to talk to somebody from far away who's going through something similar and feel like they belong, but there might also be places where somebody who's grieving and suffering and dealing with all these conflicting feelings might be preyed upon. So it'd be interesting to see a story similar to this, but set in the present day with all those other, complicated factors. And I don't really know what that would be, but it would definitely change the story because this story is more about in-person relationships. I imagine that if it was set in present day, there'd be a lot of talking to people about your feelings, on the phone. Not talking on the phone, but, messaging and stuff like that. Anyway, it was nice to have a book that was a little bit different for the fan book, and looking forward to doing the Hunger Games.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Book Interrupted. If you'd like to see the video highlights from this episode, please go to our YouTube channel, Book Interrupted. You can also find our videos on www.bookinterrupted.com.
Can't get enough of the Book Interrupted crew? There's a YouTube channel for that. You guessed it. Book Interrupted YouTube channel has a bunch of extra footage to explore. You can see behind the scenes of making of Book Interrupted, or just listen to one of our playlists. You can also find all episodes, sneak peeks, and silly videos featuring the Book Interrupted members. If you like what you see, give us a like and subscribe so we can stay connected and share more. Book Interrupted YouTube channel, filling the void between episodes.
Moments you can look forward to on next